This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, Rabbi. We're learning Sefer Hoshea, Parak Yud, Pasuk Yud Beis. Parak Yud, Pasuk Yud Beis. Well, we just said that only through tshuva will the punishment that the Jewish people incur be removed and reneged. And now we're going to explain what that type of what behavior is required in order to remove the punishment. Says the Navi, Ziru lachem letzedakah, plant for yourselves righteousness. Kitzru lefi chesed, reap in accordance with kindness. The Malbim says as follows: Ziru lachem letzedakah, az tizru tzedakah masan tavim. Then plant righteousness and ma'asim tovim b'mitzvah shmein adam lamakoim. Tiktzeru lefi chesed, harvest in accordance with chesed. Kamay shemin zrias garin echad yiktzeru alumais. Just like from planting one seed, you could reap bundles. You plant one seed of grain, you could reap bundles of grain. You should know that the reward that a person gets in payback for his ma'asim tovim is much more than what is required in truth. In other words, whatever Hashem is going to pay us is far beyond what we really deserve. It's a kindness that is infinite. Okay, let's see. The pasuk continues. Niru lachem nir, plow a plowing. Ve'es lidrosh es Hashem, and a time to seek out Hashem. Ad yavai, until He comes. Ve'yoyra tzedek lachem, and He teaches you righteousness. Rashi says as follows: Ziru lachem letzedakah, aval atem, but you guys, charashtem resha, you plowed evil. Lefikach, therefore, ve'ka'am sha'ain ba'amecha, therefore there a dim rose in your people. Let's see what this means. What does it mean, plow a plowing? Says Rashi, isku b'Torah, engage in Torah learning, umisham talamdu, and from there you will learn laleches b'derech tova, to go in a good path, lehisgaber al yetzer hara. The only way to overcome the yetzer hara is if someone is osek in Torah. They could do every mitzvah in the world. They could be the nicest guy, they could be the kindest guy. There is no way to overcome the yetzer hara unless one is involved in Torah learning. Shehu ner es hasada. Because learning Torah is like plowing the field. Why? When you plow the field, what do? Lahapich sharshei ha'asavim. You overturn the roots of the grass. Hamachishim betvua, that weaken the grain, from the spring and the summer, kama yamim lefnei hazera, many days before you plant. Ve'es tikvu lidros Hashem letalmud Torah. Set times to learn Torah. Meaning, the same way, days before you begin to plant, what do? You plow the land and you remove any weeds or grass that could weaken the strength of the land. So too, the only way to uproot the seeds that have taken root from the yetzer hara is by learning Torah. You could stand on your head, you could spit wooden nickels, you could say Tehillim, you could do Chesed. Nothing will overcome the yetzer hara except for Limud Torah. Ad yavai v'yoyra tzedek lachem, until He comes and He teaches you righteousness. Kishatiu yigeyim ba, if you weary yourself in Torah, hu yavin eschem, He will make you understand, l'hoidiachem, to make you know, tzfunoseha b'tzedek, its secrets in righteousness. Davar acher niru lachem nir, asu masim tovim, do good acts, kodim sheyavei aleichem halachatz, before any oppression comes. So the point is, v'zeh yigrem lachem, this will cause you, shetiskabel tfilaschem, that your tefillah will be accepted be'es hatzorech, when it's needed. Like this we mentioned last week. Do masim tovim, so that when you're in a time of need, your tefillah will be accepted. Then it will be an appropriate time to seek out God, in all your needs. Because then your outcry will be heard. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until you have chas v'shalom, a person has a tzara, and then all of a sudden a person will have to wake up, I have to do masim tovim. Do masim tovim before, so in a case of need, your tefillah will be more accepted. Now I want to speak out a Gemara on this pasuk. It's a Gemara in Sukkah on Daf Mem Tes. The Gemara says, they decided to remove Sukkah from the Shas. Okay, we got one. Says the Gemara on this pasuk in Hoshea. Amar Rabbi Lazar says, Gedoyla gemilas chasadim yoiser min tzedakah. Gemilas chasadim is greater than tzedakah. You hear this? Greater is gemilas chasadim than tzedakah. Shenemar, like the pasuk says,
not giving tzedakah a gemilas chesed.
No, it's not. See, and that's for extra emphasis. Gedoyla gemilas chasadim yoiser min tzedakah. Chesed is greater than tzedakah. Shenemar, ziru lachem l'tzedakah, plant in accordance with tzedakah, v'kitzru lefi chesed, but reap in accordance with kindness. Meaning, tzedakah is like planting, and chesed is like reaping. If a person plants, will he eat? Adar ya, adar nish. Maybe yeah, maybe no. But if somebody reaps, they certainly will eat. So therefore, chesed is greater than tzedakah. So you have two people. One guy is a big oisher, and he sends out a lot of checks. And one guy helps people begufay. Greater is somebody who is a goymel chesed than someone who gives tzedakah. The Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Lazar, Ein tzedakah mishtalemes ela lefi chesed shabah. Tzedakah is only rewarded in accordance with the kindness that is accomplished by it. How do we know that? Shenemar, meaning the reward of tzedakah is not, $100 you get 100 points, $101 you get 101 points. No, the amount of chesed that is in the tzedakah is what is the determining factor in the reward. Shenemar, ziru lachem l'tzedakah, plant tzedakah, v'kitzru, and reap the reward lefi chesed.
So if I give you money for a hole,
a hole?
A hole. H-O-L-E.
I don't need a hole.
But the guy that helps you dig the hole, he's the gemilas chesed.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Now the question is, why is chesed greater than tzedakah? Tana Rabbanan. The shloisha dvarim, gedoyla gemilas chasadim yoiser min tzedakah. There are three ways that chesed is greater than tzedakah. Tzedakah b'mamaynai. Tzedakah is with your money. Gemilas chasadim bein megufay bein b'mamaynai. Chesed is...
Tzedakah b'seiser, is that equal to chesed?
No. Gemilas chasadim bein megufay bein b'mamaynai. Gemilas chesed you could do with your money, and you could do it with your body.
If it took you 100 hours because you moved pianos, that 100 hours that you made this money, now you take this money for tzedakah, why is that less than the 100 hours I'm going to help somebody? Why is that not considered gufa?
What's the pianos?
I'm saying you worked very hard for this money with your goof, and you take all that money and you give it. Why is that less? It's gufa. Why is tzedakah not considered gufa? You had to work for it.
Because at the end of the day, you worked for yourself. So that could be in my pocket. Now that it's in my pocket, I'm giving tzedakah. I move the pianos because I want money. To do with it what I choose. Now that it's in my pocket, I could do with it whatever I want. I'm giving some to you. But gemilas chesed is with your guf, meaning tzedakah is not me, tzedakah is my money. My money's not me. I don't take it with me at the end. At the end, you think you're giving it to your kids, but really the government takes it. Or most of it. Unless you have a good financial planner. What?
But it's my gufo to get that money.
You're right. Yeah, but you use your guf for you, to make it for you.
And I gave it all to tzedakah.
So there's no mitzvah to go to work to be able to give tzedakah. Don't work. Sit and learn. Nobody asks you to work to give tzedakah. No chiyuv to go to work to give tzedakah. You go to work to pay your bills. Now you have 10%, you give it to tzedakah.
I feel so. If you're building your shul,
Yeah.
and we better off coming to paint the walls when the shul is ready than to give a donation.
No. Somebody's asking a question. They want to know in the shul that we're building in where are we building in Cedarhurst, that Baruch Hashem, a lot of money is coming in. If anybody else wants to help support our shul and build the shul and have a zechus in all the millions of hours of Torah that are going to emanate from the shul, please, kol hakavod, every dollar counts. You want to know, would we rather you paint the shul or your money? We would rather your money because we don't trust the way you paint. We don't know.
Excuse me, I have experience painting.
No, not you personally. Not you personally. I mean, people besides you, people in general.
Wouldn't that be more chesed than the tzedakah of giving to Bill?
Jesus is a better painter than you.
Again,
I mean, that's gufo. It's my gufo, right?
Again, if you could do a good job painting, if you could do the same job as this guy, who you could pick up on Dowdy Avenue by the train tracks, if you could match that job, yeah, it would be a bigger mitzvah to do it yourself. Better to do mitzvah with your guf than with your money. Right? We understand that. With your guf, you're actually exerting effort and toil. With your money, alright, here, you take it, I'm going to stay in bed.
The same concept, like to say, if you have a chance to learn, but if you go to work and make a lot of money, pay a color, they say that it's for yourself to learn. Is that the same concept? Or?
No. I mean, better...
I think if I could support the color, if I become, I'm a CEO of a company.
Right. No, then there's an idea. Mitzvah by Yosemi b'shulcha. It's better to do a mitzvah yourself than to do it through an agent. Yeah, I mean, it's similar in the sense. It's better. My money is my agent as opposed to when I do it myself.
Rabbi, doesn't the Gemara say that those who support Torah learning have greater sechar than the learners themselves?
The Gemara doesn't say that. The Gemara says that those who support learning get schar in the learning. Now the Gemara does say smach zavulon b'tzeisecha v'yisachar b'yalecha, which sounds like zavulon comes first even and has a certain priority, but it doesn't necessarily. It's not decisively indicative of the fact that they get more reward. Okay, I'm not finished yet. A lot of questions today. The Gemara continues. Tzedakah la'aniyim. Tzedakah is only to the poor. Gemilas chasadim bein la'aniyim bein la'ashirim. Chesed is for the poor and the rich. Tzedakah is only l'chayim. Gemilas chasadim bein l'chayim bein l'mesim. Right? The tzedakah is only for the living. So it sounds like from this Gemara, what's greater, tzedakah or chesed? Gemara says clearly chesed is greater. Fine. However, says Chavetz Chaim in the Sefer Avas Chesed, Chelak Beis, Parak 17. Mi kol makom sarch sheyeda adam. Nevertheless, the person needs to know shebekama dvarim yesh tzedakah adif min chesed. In many ways, tzedakah is greater than chesed. How's that? Number one, chesed. What would chesed be with money? What kind of chesed is there with money? That's not tzedakah. Alone. So, what's better, tzedakah or chesed? In many ways, tzedakah is greater, because tzedakah, you're not getting the money back. Chesed, you're getting the money back.
It provides an incentive for the person to do what he has to do to pay it back, gives him motivation.
Another advantage of tzedakah, and that is, you're overcoming your Yetzer Hara more. If you're just lending the money, the Yetzer Hara says, don't do it! So you say, okay, I'm getting it back anyway. So it's easier to overcome the Yetzer Hara. Tzedakah, you're never going to see it again. It's a more difficult thing. And we know from Tzara Agra. The Gemara says it's greater to lend money to a poor person than to give it to him. That's only somebody who's faltering, and by lending him money, you'll ensure that he doesn't fall into, doesn't completely, is not completely...
Doesn't become an avion.
Yeah, does not completely fall on hard times. So this way, by a loan, you sort of support him and give him a boost. However, somebody who's already a complete ani, of course it's a bigger mitzvah to give them tzedakah than to lend it to them, because they have no way to pay back. So the truth is, even though the Gemara says Chesed is greater in 3 ways, there are advantages that tzedakah has over Chesed. So says the Chavetz Chaim, if we accept this premise that there are advantages of tzedakah over Chesed, we can understand what it says in Pirkei Rabbi Elazar and Perek Tezayin. The pasuk says, "Re'ei nasati lefanecha hayom es hachayim v'es hatoiv v'es hamaves v'es hara." Says Pirkei Rabbi Elazar. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "I've given you 2 paths. One is good and one is bad. The path of goodness is life. The path of bad is death. The path of goodness has 2 paths on it. One of tzedakah and one of chesed. And in between the 2 paths stands Eliyahu Zachor Latov. And when a person comes to enter the path, Eliyahu cries out, Pischu sha'arim v'yavoi goy tzadik shomer amunim. And Shmuel Hanavi stands between these 2 paths, and he says, I don't know, which one should I go on? Should I go on the path of Chesed? Tzedakah is greater. Should I go on the path of Tzedakah? Chesed is greater. Ela meir olai shamayim va'aretz, that I will not forsake either of them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Shmuel, you stand between these 2 paths. I swear to you, I will give you 3 good gifts. From here we learn, anybody who wants and does tzedakah and chesed, he gets 3 great gifts. What are they? Life, wealth, honor. Like it says, Roidev tzedakah v'chesed, yim tzachayim tzedakah v'chavod. What do we see from this medrash? That even though the Gemara says chesed is greater than tzedakah, it is clear there are advantages of tzedakah over chesed. And therefore, which one should a person do? Both. To be mechazek both in the mitzvah of tzedakah and in the mitzvah of chesed. So just tell you, in the Avas Chesed and Chelek Beis, Parak 12. Says the Chavetz Chaim, let me explain to you the benefits of chesed. Okay, you ready for this? 7 benefits. Ready for the 7 benefits? Or you want to miss this one? No? Oh, okay, good. Number 1, it's Marech Yamav. Makes you live longer. So this way, you go to the doctor, and you get a good report. Chesed, it lengthens your life. Number 2, it's mechaper your avonos. There are certain averos that tshuva alone doesn't work on. For example, if a person is over a lav, you need tshuva and Yom Kippur. But if you do chesed, you don't even have to wait till Yom Kippur. Certain averos, even Yom Kippur doesn't take care of. You need chas v'shalom, tshuva, and yisurim. No, you do chesed, you're spared. Number 3, chesed will protect a person from the pagaim of life, the dangers of life. Number 4, one who is involved in doing chesed, he takes refuge in the shade of HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. Number 5, oichel peroisehem ba'olam hazeh. You get side benefits in this world. And the Karen is where? Olam haba. Number 6, you'll have zoicha to have banim, balei oisher, balei chachma, balei kavod. You'll have good children. Number 7, la'asad lavai, you'll have a good outcome in your din. Therefore, says the Chavetz Chaim, the same way a person would not let a day of their life go by without learning Torah, says Reb Chaim Vital, V'alkein, kivan shehim mechaprim avonos, since chesed is a kapara, just like a carbon, the same way in the Beis Hamikdash, there was never a day that the Mizbeach was empty and unoccupied. One should not let a day go by without doing at least one chesed. Okay, Rabbi Sai?
You use the word rodef. To me, that means that you have to go out looking for chesed and tzedakah, or wait till it comes to you. How do we define rodef? An active person?
So that's a very difficult question, because even though roidef doesn't mean to pursue it, on the other hand, it says in Shulchan Aruch that if a person is in the middle of learning, they should continue learning. And let's say a chesed comes their way, they should not interrupt if somebody else could do it. So how do you reconcile that with what Chazal is saying? A person should run after chesed. You know, if a person runs after chesed, they're going to be running around the whole day. They'll never learn a word. That's one of the biggest questions in life. How does one balance the importance of Talmud Torah with the importance of running after chesed?
Is it based possibly on the fact, if you're a Talmud Chacham and you really understand and get deeper, maybe chesed gets put off to the side, but if you're a little bit weaker, you don't have the capacity to learn, so then you're better off doing the chesed.
Well,
or does it matter? I mean, you do the best you can.
Everyone has the same obligation to learn as much as they can and to do chesed. Well, I guess one way of looking at it is most people are not able to learn all day long. Most people, they do need to change a pace. So why not change your pace by running after chesed? It's a very difficult question to answer.
I can tell you, I think from my personal experiences, that when you give tzedakah, you get one kind of a feeling, even if you give it b'seisem. But when you do chesed, at least to me, you get a much deeper sense of having done something positive. Those occasions, I can remember it's a much more internally better feeling, positive feeling.
Do tzedakah, you get a tax write-off. Okay.
You know what? It's numbers on a piece of page, on a page. But chesed, you affect somebody.
So that's what we learn out from the pasuk Ziru lachem letzedakah, Kitzru lefi chesed. Okay, pasuk Yud Gimel. Charashtem resha. You've plowed evil. Avlosa kitzartem. You've harvested iniquity. Achaltem pri chachash. You've eaten the fruit of denial. Kiva, not of the Nile River, of denial. Kiva tachta v'darkacha. You trusted in your way. B'roiv gibayrecha. In your many mighty men. Says Mitzudas David. Charashtem resha ratzloimar. Hine loy chen asisem. You didn't do what I suggested to harvest chesed, to plow chesed, but you plowed evil. Ratzloimar chashavtem lasos resha. You thought to do evil. V'chein asisem, my son, you did it. V'kacha haya hagmol. This was the following is the reward for plowing evil, that you harvested the fruit of denial, gemol maseh hasheker, the recompense of the acts of falsehood. You trusted in your way, and that is b'masha hayisa haylech leMitzrayim. What does it mean? You trusted in your way? That you went to Egypt and to Ashur, Lavakish Ezra, to seek help. Hine bazeh batachta. By doing so, you trusted in your mighty ones. And therefore you did not, you were not concerned for my warning. So what is the punishment? V'kam sha'in ba'amecha. Therefore, a din, a noise arose in your people. We'll see what this means. V'chol mivtzarecha yushad. All of your strongholds and your fortresses were plundered. Kishoid, like the plunder. Shalman, beis arba'el b'yom milchama. So these are very interesting words. Shalman. What's Shalman? Sounds like a Persian word. What's Beis Arbel? So many learn Shalman is a lesson of shalom, peace. Beis Arbel is ambush. like the plunder of those at peace from before an ambush on a day of war. People who are at peace and at ease, and suddenly they're plundered and ambushed on the day of war. Eim ha'albanim rutasha, a mother with her children are torn asunder. Vasmeinda, says Matsudas David. Vikam lachin yakum ba'amecha, therefore it will arise among your people. Kol sha'ayin milchama, the sound of the din of war. V'chol mivtzarecha, and all of your strongholds. Yushad will be plundered. Al yidei shoidedim, through plunderers. Kishad. Ba'oisan hayamim haya. The Metzudas David learns a little different. Ba'oisan hayamim, in those days, haya echad nikra Shalman. There was a guy named Shalman. V'nilcham al Beis Arbel, and he fought a place called Beis Arbel. V'shadad oisam, and he plundered it. Ubaka ha'im, and he tore open a mother, samach labanim, near her children, leineim, v'amar shekamai ken yushtadu gam hema. And the Navi says, likewise, you too will be torn asunder.
Suleiman the Magnificent fought Arbel over the cliffs over the Kinneret, and the Battle of Chittim took place above Tiberia, and that's way after Hoshea. That's
Arbel?
Arbel is northern Israel.
It says here a town in the Galil, and it's references in Maccabees.
Arbel is right over the Kinneret. That's interesting because when did the Metzudas David like this?
Okay, he brings her the Das Mikra, identifies the differences. Look at Rashi. The Kamshan, call Anois, the sound of the cry, Nusu, Nusu, flee, flee, Kashad, Kashoid Shalman Beis Arbel, Kaboizazim, like plunders, Abam al Am Yoshe B'Sham, that come on a nation that sits in peace, Pisaim, suddenly Al Yad Ma'arav, in an ambush, Shaloi Nizarubam, they were not warned, Levrayach, with them to run away, B'Shoidim Esakal, Beis Arbel, Yonasan Tergamai, Beis Marav. Yonasan translates it, the house of ambush. V'alef v'lamed yisei Rabbi. The aleph lamed at the end are extra. Like Yisrael, she'eno shem ir, kagoin Yanus Yisrael, v'karoi b'lashon shem ir. There's no name of a city Yisrael, but it was called that way. So too, there's no city Beis Arbel. It's a way of saying ambush, but it sometimes in the Navi, it will refer to a city as the verb of what's happening. Okay. Rutasha, nivka'a, it was torn asunder. Now, there is a Gemara on this pasuk in Bamatzia, Daf Lamed Tes. They have Bamatzias here? It says in the Gemara, what does it mean? V'hashaviyas tishmetena une tashta. Afka'asa damalka. Netashta is when the king makes it hefker. Retushim is when you're mafker it with knowledge. Dechsiv eim al banim rutasha. With their knowledge.
Nitisha is to abandon, isn't it?
Nitusha is with das, and Nitusha is the king just does it on his own, and Ritusha is when the people do it midas. Okay, well the parak concludes. Kacha asalachem beis el. So will be done to you beis el mipnei ra'as ra'aschem, because of the evil of your evil. Bashachar in the morning, nidmai nidma. Melech Yisrael, the king of Israel, is utterly silenced in the morning. In the morning, says David, Kacha, Hadavar Azal Sachem Beisel, This has been done to you based on the Roas ha'egal, because of the evil of the calves, ha'omedes ba, that stands in her. Shehi ro'aschem, which is your evil, asher horgaltem ba, that you became accustomed in. Me'az, ki oid ba'midbar asisam es ha'egal. Even back in the desert, you made the egal. Meaning, look carefully at the pasuk. The egal that they made in Beisel, which was the egal of the 10 tribes, to keep them from serving, from going up to the Beis Hamikdash.
Wasn't that in Dan?
It was in Beisel. This is not just an independent act, but it could be traced back to when they made the egal in the Midbar. Those were the seeds of the egal and the Asar Hashvatim. And in the morning, your king will be utterly silent. Says him, what does it mean in the morning? In the beginning of the rule of Hoshea ben Elah. Now, Hoshea ben Elah should not be confused with Hoshea ben Be'eri, the Navi. Hoshea ben Elah was the king of the Malchei Yisrael. In the 6th year of his Malchus was cut off, because he was imprisoned by the Melech Ashur, as we read in Malachim Beis. Says Rashi, and we'll end with this, Kacha asalachem beisel, kol ha'paranos hazeh, all of this punishment, garam lachem ha'egal shebebeisel, was caused by the egal in Beisel. Ra'as ra'aschem, ra'as rishachem, the evil of your wickedness, averos zedoinchem, the averos of your intent. B'shachar nidma nidma. Nirdam, you'll be sleeping, ki'ilu b'layla, as if at night. Kolaymar ein boi kayach, you will not have any strength. Meaning, your king will be silenced as if he's sleeping. V'lama kozois, why? Ki b'yois Yisrael nar. And that's the flow of the next pasuk. Rashi learns the next pasuk of Parakid Aleph, ki nar Yisrael v'oyhaveo. The reason for this is Israel was a nar, was young, and I loved him. But Rashi interprets a little bit differently. And Rashi interprets it because Israel was bereft of any goodness. So we'll have to interpret it next week. The beginning of Parakid Aleph that we just read, Kinar Yisrael v'oyhaveo. Israel was young, and I loved him. Umi Mitzrayim, and from the time of Egypt, Karasi Livni. I called him Livni. What does that mean, Livni? I called him my son. From the time of Egypt, I called him my son. Let's see the mitzvahs. David Kinar, Oide ben Arusai. While he was still young, Meshubed ben Mitzrayim, Alhavtiv, I loved him. Umi Mitzrayim, Me'es Yatsa, Mi Mitzrayim, Karasi Esbenin, Ratzloimer, Shalachti Elav.
Hashem still loved us.
Oh, he's saying, Karasi Esbeni, Ratzloimer, Shalachti Elav, Avadai Hanavim. I sent to him my servants, the prophets, Likroi Lai, to call to him, Lashav Eli, to return to me. What do you mean, my prophets? How many prophets did Hashem send to Bnei Yisrael? Prophets. So if you look in the Navi Chesed, Hashem sent Aaron to Bnei Yisrael to remove their Avodah Zarah even before Hashem sent Moshe. Aaron was already a Navi well before Moshe was. Rabbi, so we'll pick it up over here next time. It's Hashem.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.